Right, good evening people. I've just realised that this vehicle is out of MOT. So I've booked in the MOT for tomorrow, luckily. So I'm just going to do a few pre-checks just to make sure there's nothing stupid out that I can fix before the MOT to save it from failing. So this is my Mercedes GL 320 diesel. It was prior to the fleet, but since getting another new Mercedes, I've put this in the background, and this is purely just a 7-seater to travel the kids around in and to tow the caravan and car trailer and horse box and whatnot. Hence the reason why it's so dirty. We've been towing horses around all weekend to riding lessons and whatnot. So we're gonna just start off with the inside first. So first thing you want to do is just make sure there's no warning lights on the dash when you start it up. Main ones being the engine warning light, ABS light, traction light, stuff like that. That's just an instant failure. As you can see, I've got a service light on, but that shouldn't stop it from passing. That's the mileage, 107,600. So that's the first thing you want to check in here. Next thing you want to check is like view of the road, stuff like that. We'll take that down because some testers will say, yeah, okay, we'll just tuck that out the way and that's fine, and other testers will just plain on fail it. Instead of just taking it down, they'll just fail it. So we'll just take that down just to be on 100% safe side. Things with sat navs and stuff like that as well. If you've got a sat nav stuck to your screen, it can fail for that. If it's in the wrong place. I mean, if it's right in the corner, bottom corner there or over there, out the way where it's not really obscuring the road, then again some testers will pass that, but all you need is that one arsehole tester that'll just fail it because they're in a bad mood that day. So next thing you want to do is just check for stone chips in the windscreen. Zone A, which is right in front of you, so like this area, in the swept area, you're allowed up to a 10mm stone chip. In zone B, you're allowed up to a 40mm stone chip or small crack. So yeah, again, if you've got something like that, you can just get the windscreen company in, get your insurance to fit your new windscreen, whatever you want to do, before it goes in for test, and then that just saves it having a fail on its record, basically. Because the first thing I do when I buy a car, I just check the MOT history and see what it's failed on, if it's failed on anything stupid or if it's a complete rotten piece of crap. So the next thing you want to do, again, view the road. Just make sure that your wiper blades clear the screen and it don't leave all smeary marks, and again just check that your washers work. They spray on the screen and not the car 3 cars behind. As long as something's hitting the screen and that washes off and clears the screen, then they're quite okay with that. And then next thing you want to do, just check your lights. Just make sure that they illuminate, and if you park up against something square like a roller shutter door or brick wall or something, and just make sure they're level. Here's another thing, high beam. When you turn your high beam on, that's your indicator, you got to make sure that little blue light comes on the dash. Next thing to do, again, we'll just go with the indicators. Just make sure they're flashing normally. and all the warning lights come on, and again the hazard and that the old switch illuminates to say that the hazard warning lights are on. We'll get round to check the lights in a minute. We'll go do a little walk around tour of it, but while you're in here you might as well back up. If you haven't got a second person, back up to a door or a roller door or brick wall again, just apply your brake, and you can see I've got one light on each bottom corner of that screen and one at the top, which is my free brake lights. So that's a good way to check it. The only thing in here now that you need to check is to make sure that the seat goes backwards and forwards. That's the only thing they check. The sun visors don't flop down and smack in the face when you go over a bump. And just have a quick check of the seat belts, plug them in, make sure there's no fraying, no rips or tears on each belt, and just make sure they undo. The other thing is to make sure that both front doors open from the inside. Again, that's just for safety aspects, and that is pretty much it in here. Again, you need to check the driver's seat belt and the back seat belts, just to make sure there are no splits, rips, tears or fraying, and that they plug in and unplug again. So now we'll get on to the outside. Another thing is, especially on high mileage cars, is just make sure that your brake pedal rubber, there's no metal showing through there. If you got them sporty pedals with the little rubber dots on them, just make sure they're all there. But like if that was all the way worn through to metal, again, that's something to reason to fail. Just shut that. We'll pop the bonnet while we're here, while we're in here. So around here, you got to make sure that your lights work. You got a side light, headlight, a main beam light. Just make sure they work. Front fog lights, they're not tested, so you ain't got to worry about them. But again, as you look at that, you got one out, you might as well just change the bulb. Again, just make sure you got your side lights, your headlights, and your main beam bulbs. Make sure that your indicators work, your side repeaters. We'll come around the back, and again, it's just checking and make sure that all your lights work. Your side lights, your brake lights, your fog lights, reverse lights are not tested, and your number plate lights all work. Third brake light, you need to make sure that works if it's fitted. If it works, you need to make sure that it's more than 50% illuminated. So if you've got 6 bulbs in them, in 6 bulbs or 6 LEDs, you need to make sure 3 of them or more work, because if you don't, that's a fail. Also just check that rear wiper, just to make sure that's not split or anything. Again, they don't check that, but when you're going down the road and you want to see out your back window and it's just a smeary mess, you might as well check it, just make sure it's okay. I think that's it for around the back here. Again, just make sure that your side lights, your brake lights, your fog lights all work. Reverse lights aren't accounted for, but again, as you're checking the lights, if you've got a blown bulb, you might as well change it. Another thing is that you need to make sure that the lens is complete and you ain't got a great big hole in the middle, because again, that's the reason for failure. You need to make sure that you can open and close your fuel cap. Some cars don't come with fuel caps, they're them safety valves, so you can just chuck the nozzle in and that's that. Temporary fuel caps like the ones you get from the garage, they're no good. Throw it in the bin and buy something half decent, because again that's just a fail. Need to make sure all the doors open from the outside. The same on the other side. Again, just make sure that works. That's your indicator, and make sure your front indicators work. Just get someone to sit in the car while you go around and check it, and then they can check all the lights. While we're here, we'll just do a quick check of the tyres. These are all pretty new, these tyres, so I haven't got to worry about these. Just make sure there's plenty of tread, and I don't know if you can see that little line in that groove. That's your low tyre indicator wear mark. So if it's touching that on the road, you know you need a new tyre, and you need to make sure that on this tyre is like 3 big grooves. Just make sure that you've got plenty of tread on all 3 grooves, and then you just want to have a quick look around it just to make sure there's no lumps, bulges, cuts, tears, foreign objects sticking out of it. Just have a look around the side wall, and to have a look around all the tyre that you can see visible. On the front tyres it's quite easy, just to put it on full lock, and then you can see how much tread. It's just easier to see what's going on. Another thing that people miss is inside wear on a tyre. So if you put it on full lock, you can then easily check the inside of the tyre to make sure you've got plenty of tread on that, because again that's another reason for failure. While you're here in the wheel, just check, just poke your head through there. I don't know if you can see that. Just check the brake pads, they're looking a little bit on the low side, but should be more than enough to pass. If you've got less than a thickness of a pound coin, they'll probably advise on it. If they're down to metal on metal, then that's going to fail. Just have a quick look around the body, make sure there's no sharp edges, nothing sticking out, no trims loose or anything like that. Again, if you have, put a bit of duct tape on it, or just stick it down with a bit of Tide seal. And then you can come around and check this tyre, check that pad, make sure you've got loads of meat left on that, and then check that wheel, tyre, pad, and then same with that one. So once you've done all that, we can open the bonnet with the magic handshake. And it's just a case of just going around in here, checking levels, making sure you've got coolant. You take the cap off, make sure it's cold and not stinking hot. Need to check the oil level, because if it hasn't got enough oil in it, they won't even test it. Brake fluid, just make sure you've got some levels in that. All the fluids that you can see, just check and top up. And while you're here, put some water in your screen wash tank, because the last thing you want, although we checked the washers and they worked, sod's law is they'll get it on the MOT bay and you just run out of water. So just fill the water bottle up and all will be good. Now you can't really see much underneath. I've got a round, but I can stick it up. But while you're at home, all you want to do is just stick your head underneath. Let's get a torch. Just stick your head underneath and just make sure There's nothing hanging off, no under tray scraping on the floor. All the suspension, I mean at the front here we can just have a quick check in here, just make sure there's nothing really hanging off, no splits in the CV boots, no real bad oil leaks, and the exhaust isn't hanging off, that's not blowing. And then just have a scoot round down each side. It means getting on the floor, and that's not very nice when it's wet and cold, but you know, if you've got like a broken exhaust clamp at least, or a loose one, or you might be able to just to tighten up or just secure it enough just to pass an MOT. So, same on that side if you really wanted to. And it's just about doing your best to see that when you take it in for an MOT, that it's not going to fail. You know, not everyone is a mechanic, and but if you've got a bulb out, you've got time just to quickly pop down somewhere, get a bulb, chuck it in before the MOT, and that just saves having that failure on the sheet. Or you take it into a garage and say, I've got an MOT booked today, but I have noticed it's got a bulb out, can you do that before the MOT? Blah 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 blah. So that's about it really. That's just a quick guide just to have a quick look to make sure that your car is in good order before the MOT, and it don't hurt you to do this every month, in all honesty, just in case something do happen, because 12 months is a long time for a car to be on the road without being checked. You know, it takes 15, 20, maybe half an hour just to do that, and you know, it's not just having a roadworthy car for yourself. If you have an accident, then you know it could be prevented. So yeah, just have a quick look around it, and again, it just helps the MOT tester. It gets his job done out of the way a lot quicker, and it also just saves you having that record of a fail on your MOT history. Right, okay, we'll leave it there for today. It's 2021, first video of 2021. I've got a new intro all set up because I've had a couple of comments that my intro music was a bit loud, so I just redone it. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you in the next one.